So the hardest thing I've had to accept since I've been here is that Hausas, my tribe, my people, unfortunately are not going to allow Nigeria to become what it's meant to be. The mindset of the northern Nigerians are going to destroy this country. I'm sorry to say it. So this is an idea I had, right? It was very simple. Raise money, build orphanages, massive orphanages, and pick up the almajiris off the street. Take the almajiris off the street. Teach them engineering. Teach them tech. Teach them coding. Take them off the streets and teach them, try to get them up to par so they can compete. And I brought up how every time I had this conversation, I would bring up the four Indian kids, the four Indian boys, like 10-year-old boys that were online. They were doing the live chat and building an app. Every time I bring up this idea to a northerner, the first thing they ask is, well, what about Islam? What about Qur'ani? What about Islamic school? When I say I have met incredible resistance to the idea of taking these boys off the streets and getting them to join the global age. Like, my mindset is this. Every corner you go in northern Nigeria, there are 5 people willing to teach these boys Islamic school, Quran. There are 10 people willing to teach them everything they need to learn about Islam. Why isn't there anyone willing to teach them anything else? So when I brought that up, some people were like, I had people going, it will never happen unless I have to teach them Islamic curriculum in the schools. I said, you don't understand. Northern Nigerians are against the idea of changing the trajectory and the outcomes of almajiris. They say almajirici, which is what it is embedded in our culture. And here's the thing, no, it's not. And as a Muslim, it's haram. I fucking said it. Any northern Nigerian that wants to step the fuck up, do it. It is haram. Because you are not allowed to bring a child into this world that you cannot raise. And there are fuck ton of Hausa men and women who have babies with no intention of, they know they will only take care of that child to a certain age, then they'll pawn that child off. There are a fuck ton of imams, men in the north, who rely on these kids for a living. They send these boys out every day to go earn a living to come back and give them. I thought of an idea that, look, we need to find a way to raise money, build orphanages, teach these boys tech, teach them engineering, teach them robotics, let them compete with the global populace. And every time I bring this up, every fucking Hausa person I tell this shit to wants to argue with me. They say it's not going to. They are vehemently against this. So I need you to understand, I need to ask you, how will Nigeria as a fucking country compete with the likes of Ghana, South Africa, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, when the northern Nigeria is part of Nigeria? The most fucked up thing I'm going to have to say as a Hausa man is, for Nigeria to advance, they have to get rid of Hausa. They have to get the north.
Barrister, do you agree with him? Now, this guy, before you answer that, I don't know his name. This is his 3rd time I'm watching his video. That guy seemed to be inspiring and insightful. I love that guy. He's an Hausa man, but probably I think he grew in the West.
He has been in the US for a very long time.
So because that is US accent.
Almost 30 years.
So that is just it. And I don't know. I can't remember his name actually, but that guy is trending online and that guy is making real sense. What's your thought on that? He said, for Nigeria to move forward, for Nigeria to succeed, they have to get rid of the North.
First of all, you have to understand that there is reality and there is appearance of reality. There is truth and there is also the unreal world. A lot of things he has said there are very correct, very true, very accurate. But we are now talking about the reality of the North and by extension, Nigeria. You look at when El-Rufai came, one of his key policies was to rid the street of Kaduna of almajiris. He never even attempted, even one. He was not able to take even one out of the street. They have been there in the hundreds of thousands from his day one to the end of the day. Now, how do you explain this phenomenon? It is tied to religion, but the reality of it is feudalism. The existence of the northern elites, if you look at the northern elites, their children are not almajiris. Their children are going to UK, to London, to US. They are reading science of the engineering, robotics, whatever you can think of. Their children are doing that. The elites of the north, the Muslim north. But the almajiris, they are confined to being on the street. It's strategic. It's feudal strategy. They use them as cannon fodder. Anywhere you want in the north, if you want crisis, these are the first group. They are expendable. They are the first group that precipitate crisis anywhere in the north, but they are expendable. While the feudal lords with their children live in opulence and in some kind of security. So that has been the feudal strategy. And any attempt to remove it is going to lead the average northern elite barefaced. Is going to expose him to nothing, because these are the people they look up to for population, for crisis, for whatever they want to achieve within the polity. They gather them under their umbrella. We have the numbers. We can attack. We can destroy. We can do this. And who do you think they are calling upon? It is these almajiris or people who grew up on the street. So it is their bulwark to maintain their feudal status within the north, and then a stranglehold on Nigeria. So whatever this guy say is the truth. There's nothing wrong with the analysis he has presented. But my point is that we don't need to expel. Where do you expel them? You can't expel them except you break up Nigeria.
That's the breaking up.
The statement that if Nigeria wants to grow, it should remove the outside is neither here nor there. He should have said everybody that wants to break up should go his way and take his development in his own hand. That is a better time to talk about. Nigeria should disintegrate. But I see a different way. If the rest of the country can come together, if the northern elite are dispossessed of power, that problem will be, let me be very frank, if they no longer have a stranglehold on political power in Nigeria, we will begin to see change in the north.
How do you think we can achieve that? Because how do you think we can achieve taking the political power from the establishment? How do you think that is possible in Nigeria?
It's not easy, but it is very achievable. The main problem has been the fact that they have been able to put a big wedge between the main protagonists in the South. If you remove that wedge that they have managed to put between the Igbos and the Yorubas in the South and bring the South together, that is the end of the hegemony of the northern elite. But the fact that that wedge is difficult to remove is what has given them the control of the politics in Nigeria. It's as simple as that. Because in the Middle Belt, we stand between the North and the South. We see when there's division in the South, we see that you cannot take the power because you are not united. So we try to follow the people who stand the chance of taking the power. But the moment the Middle Belt sees that the South is united, it is going to ally with the South. That is where you will see that coalition will win any day, anytime elections are held in Nigeria.
Yeah, but
and let me further articulate this. Buhari has been winning the northern Muslim votes, 11 million, 12 million for as long as you can think of, but he never won the presidency. That is to show you that if left on their own, they can never win. But the fact that the South does not manage to unite gives them that leverage. They play the Igbos against the Yorubas and Yorubas against, these people begin to fight against themselves. They take themselves as enemies. And so they pick one group from there. They either pick this Igbos or they pick the Yorubas. And then they are home and dry. And go back to 1979 when Shagari allied with Ikweme, the East. There's no kind of abuse. This kind of abuse you are hearing today against the Igbos from the north, that was what was against the Yorubas. I'm old enough to know there's no kind of abuse that was not thrown at Awolowo, was not thrown against the Yorubas in 1979, because the north had allied with the southeast. Now they have allied with the southwest. The abuse has turned to the southeast. So these are not rocket science, but as intellectual, as far looking as the southern people are, they have been unable to remove that wedge and see through the screen, the smooth screen that is making them devoid of power, blaming the other group there, not blaming the person who is bringing the divide. That is where issues, it is about time all the southern groups met and tried to understand what is happening and recalibrated their political game. If not, within the context of this system we are holding, they will always have the aces. They will always have all the aces.
Anyway, the truth is that, honestly, whatever I said there is exactly what you have said. Excuse me. Not exactly, but this issue of breakaway. Like me, I've always supported Biafra to actually pull it, because the truth is, the Igbos have been from the foundation of Nigeria. They've been cheated. They are being cheated. It existed and it's still existing, and it was actually foundationally calculated to be so. The British colony actually they entrenched that. They actually sowed that seed, and that this was their intention. As a result of that, I just believe that I support this issue of breakup. I don't know. Some people will say multiple zones. Igbo alone breaking up with. Do you know what Igbo breaking up will be? Igbo to break up means that region will be one of the most successful regions, or successful if it becomes a country of a nation of its own. Will be one of the most successful nations on earth, because Igbos, they have everything it takes to actually build a very, very strong economy. Very strong economy. All it takes is they have the human capital, they have the natural capital. They have all the resources to do that. Now, the truth is, I agree with that guy. I agree with him, because the North actually is more of a problem than a solution to Nigeria. That's just the reality. We have been in the North. I was born and bred in the North, so I know the average mentality. The mentality of an average Northerner, Hausa Fulani. So you just said it all. This culture of almajiri thing, he said, okay, Rufai planned it, promised it, but he never delivered. The thing even got worse. That's because it is an enterprise for the establishment, for the corrupt establishment. That almajiri stuff is really, really an enterprise. They use that to manipulate, just like you said. They always want to have tools that they can use to perpetrate a political end. That is just, and if they don't have almajiris, that power, almajiri is part of their power game. That is just the reality. It's part of their power game. So even if, why I support that breakout or breakaway is because if the North continues that way, even if we have South and West uniting to take power away from the northern establishment, we'll still have the same issue going on. Because just like we said, it is really like, just like what that guy said, it's religious based. And anything you and I know that anything that is religious based in the north is super sensitive. It goes to the fiber, the entire it goes to the entire through the entire veins of northern citizens. So they don't joke with that, and they will continue to use that as a weapon. So even if we have this unity between this the Yorubas and the Igbos and the South, I am telling you, and they pull out the power, take power from the northern elites. I'm telling you that will not solve problem. The problem will still remain because it is religious, and anything that is religious, especially in the north, it is anything. Religion is about indoctrination. You and I know that brainwash and indoctrination, these two things are so strong. They are so powerful. That's why people die based on out of being brainwashed. They die for brainwash. They die for what do you call it? I just mentioned the word right now. Anyway, so but that is just it, barrister. So honestly, I would rather Nigeria break up. Now, that is in the absence of revolution. Now, because first things first, in the absence of revolution either by military or by the people, if we cannot have these two, because these are the two things that can actually usher in change. Change, not a perfect change, but at least change to a reasonable length. If we can't have these two, then let us have a breakaway. Let us have Biafra, a Biafra nation. By it or whatever. I don't believe the way Nnamdi Kanu is doing it. I don't believe in the messenger anyway. I believe in Biafra, but I don't believe in the messenger. I believe in the message. So, but that is just it. Because the truth is, honestly, Nigeria can't move forward. The problem, Nigeria's problem, honestly, the real basic problem Nigeria has is the north. That's just it. And it is the north that actually corrupted other parts of the country. I don't know if you agree with me on that, that not actually were the one, not actually corrupted other parts, made other parts to be, not when I say corrupted, political corruption, not financial corruption. I'm talking about political corruption. They corrupted other parts of their whatever, and probably most times they want to pitch both together, hit both heads together to benefit their own selfish end. Barrister.
Yes, like I said, this issue of divide Nigeria or separate Nigeria, at the back of my mind, I see greatness in a greater Nigeria if it is achievable. But where we will not achieve that greatness, and where rather we'll have bloodshed repeatedly, now and again, then the other option is preferable. As we are in Nigeria today, we are barely a country.
Honestly.
The kind of distrust, the kind of hatred, the kind of mistrust, the kind of regional pulling that we have negates the very principle of a country. So it's going to be very difficult to maneuver and manipulate and bring a semblance of nationhood under the current dispensation. But we can do it step by step by continual devolution of powers. If we continue to devolve more and more powers, remove the what is making the federal government tick, the kind of powers that the federal government has that every other person has to stand and look. If we remove those powers and give it to the states or to the regions, maybe we should even return to the regions.
Yeah,
create more
regional government, yes. Honestly.
Yes, we can return to the regions, create more regions.
Honestly, I love that system.
It will be much better. The federation can remain in a weaker position.
Yeah.
Economic power. Let the regions compete among themselves.
Yeah, that is it.
If you see the West doing well, if you see the East doing well, the North will sit up. Believe me.
That is it. Yeah, I agree with
The
you.
North will sit up.
That's a very viable alternative, honestly.
They will put their acts together and try to catch up. But what we are doing now is neither here nor there. We are not developing together. Rather, we are trying to go down together. Everybody, and that reminds me, in the aftermath of colonialism, when people took power, and there was this issue of socialism, communism, and capitalism. Because some African leaders did not understand these terms, intricate in these terms properly, some of them mess up. I remember Tanzania, Julius Nyerere, by what he called the Arusha Declaration. He brought socialism into Tanzania. And the aim was to lift up everybody so that there will be no poor people in Tanzania, or at least very few.
Very few.
At the end of the policy, when he himself acknowledged that the policy had failed, he ended up collapsing everybody to the poorest level. Even those who had gone ahead came down to become poor people. So it was a policy that now leveled everybody to the poor level instead of lifting up everybody to the upper level. If we don't take time, this is what will happen in Nigeria. Yeah. This is the way we are going. So let us return to the regions, create more regions, encourage competition between. Look at the mineral resources in northern Nigeria. Look at the arable land. Look at everything. Without the oil, the North can stand well if they put their acts together. If they stop looking for monthly allocations from the Federation and come back home and look at the situation of their this thing, they will exist very well. They will do very well. All and right. That reminds me, finally, I read the memoirs of President Ford of the United States when the state of New York was about to become bankrupt, and they went to the federal government in the US and say, bail us out, oh, by next week we will not be able to pay teachers, we will not pay civil servants, fire workers. We are on the brink of bankruptcy. And the president told them, go and fix your problems. I think the whole newspapers in the US then, headlines, President to New York, drop dead. They said all these things that the president has said New York should go and die. But the truth is that they went back and they sat together and took the choices, the hard choices, made the hard choices that revived New York and made them to climb out of the pit they were. This is what we need. We have to make the states, but the states as they are constituted are virtually impossible to sustain. That's why I'm advocating for regions. Let's have regions and let the regions stand on their own, look inwards, face the challenges within the regions and bring out solutions instead of waiting for sharing of money every month. You share, you spend, you wait for the next month. That is not, that is just nonsense, so to speak.
Yeah. All right. That is it anyway. Yeah. Alternatively, I think I agree with this, John. If we can't have a revolution, let's have a regional system of government. Honestly, that's another way. Let the three regions or four regions, as you want to call it, share it or divide it. Let them compete. Competition will bring good governance. That's just the reality. That's it. Competition anywhere actually brings progress, especially healthy competition.